This flew completely under my radar. I had no idea this was happening, and it's infuriating and it's frustrating. So apparently, the victims of the Uvalde shooting are blaming video games. We're still on this shit. We're still on this shit where we blame everything but who's to blame. The gun laws in the United States are garbage, all right? They don't keep the guns out of the hands of lunatics, okay? There are guns that can be modified to just mow down people. We're not doing anything about that. Then there's the parents. Where were the parents in this? And I would argue society as a whole. Where was society as a whole when these individuals were having fucking breakdowns? Where were we? Were we not paying attention? We were not talking? Was something happening in their lives? We're blaming everything. We're not blaming everything that we should be blaming, and we're blaming video games. We're blaming entertainment. Entertainment has jack shit to do with it, okay? But yeah, apparently they were blaming Activision Blizzard. So, and Activision Blizzard had a response. Their response was I'll read it. It's like Activision Blizzard has responded to the new lawsuit. Yeah, it's a lawsuit filed by the families of the Uvalde, Texas school shooting victims. Their families are filing a lawsuit against a company. They're convinced the video games are the problem. Because our politicians will not blame what really is the problem because they don't want to be held responsible. Let's point it all at the shit that isn't responsible. Let's look at those things instead of blaming what really is responsible. Because they're in the pockets of the NRA and whatnot. They're not willing to do right, especially Republicans. God damn Republicans. Oh, fucking Republicans. And I know a lot of you probably thought with some of my other content on my other videos that I was a Republican. No, I'm a moderate. I'm a moderate. There's a lot of stupid shit on both sides I get tired of. And this is the most... This pisses me off a lot. So there was a statement from Activision, a spokesperson. They was like, the Uvalde shooting was horrendous and heartbreaking in every way, and we express our deepest sympathies to the families and communities who remain impacted by these senseless acts of violence. Millions of people around the world enjoy video games without turning to horrific acts. Preach it, brother. Preach it, or sister. I don't know who the hell did this. I don't know if it was the spokesperson was male or female, but preach it. What? I'm probably pissing black people off right now. I'm sorry. I'm probably pissing you all off. What'd that cracker say? Anyhow. So, I didn't even know there was a lawsuit by the families of the victims. I didn't even know this. We're still on this. In this year, our Lord of 2024, we're still on this. We're still doing this. We're still blaming video games instead of focusing the blame where it belongs. We're not blaming the guns and the gun violence. We're not blaming the gun laws. We're not blaming the government. We're not blaming everything that should be blamed. We're not blaming. Society as a whole, I feel, is to blame. People act shitty to each other all the time, and they don't know what they're doing to other people's psyches. They don't know. They don't care. So instead of blaming those things that we should be blaming, let's blame the entertainment. They did this shit. They pulled this kind of shit with comic books. If video games didn't exist, it would still be comic books. I promise you it would be comic books. And some people still think comic books are an issue. No. They would say, oh no, the comic books. And if there was no comic books, they'd blame movies. They would find somewhere to lay the blame. The blame where it doesn't belong. Why? Why? Oh, why? Are people this stupid? Look, I feel bad for the people, and I feel bad for those families. But to those families, video games are not the problem, all right? Gaming isn't the problem. Entertainment isn't the problem. Entertainment isn't what's to be blamed. Blame your government officials. Blame the gun laws, or lack thereof, that we need. Blame the fact that there are guns being allowed to get out into the wild that shouldn't be there, and they shouldn't get into the hands of the lunatics who get them. We've tried passing laws before that would limit The people who get them, because you never know when you're going to end up in the hands of some lunatic. Look, I'm not one of those gun control idiots who doesn't want to see guns at all. Like, I have guns, all right? But I know better. All right? Hell, I have mental problems myself. Let's talk about that for a second. We have guns here. I've never used them. I shot a squirrel once. And that was it. And that was years ago. I haven't hurt anyone. I might have said stupid shit about hurting people because I was in the wrong mindset. Just bad times, just not doing well. But with my mental problems, you have to wonder. You have to think, how deeply fucked are the individuals that actually do this? What is going on in their lives? How deep, dark down in the hole of despair are these people that they would commit these acts? What is going on? And we don't look at that. We blame the entertainment. Again, video games, if they weren't here, if we didn't have video games, people would blame something else. If it wasn't video games, they would blame comics. If we didn't have those, they'd blame movies. They'd blame animation. They would blame... Hell, if we had nothing but books still, we still just read books, they would blame the books. We would blame everything but actually what's the issue. We wouldn't look at that. Because it's just easy to blame this shit, especially shit that some people still don't understand. We still have this boomer fucking generation who doesn't understand anything. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. Somebody like me, I haven't hurt anybody. And I should be looked at and studied. It's like, wow, why hasn't he done this with his problems? I think I know why. Upbringing. Something is failing in the home. These kids, it's a tragedy, but nobody ever stops, and this goes with a lot of situations. Nobody stops and looks within. They don't look at themselves. They don't look at anything going on with them. They just want to blame. And sometimes, I'm not saying that's the case here, but sometimes that's the thing. They don't want to look bad. I've seen parents that just don't want to look bad. They want to look terrible. They don't want to look terrible. They don't want to look like they messed up. They don't want to have the blame laid on them, so they'll look elsewhere. Politicians are the same way. Politicians don't want to be looked at as the villains, even though they are for the most part. They are. Our laws need fixed. We need some laws in place. We need to figure out a way to keep these weapons from getting into the hands of people who would commit these atrocities. And we're not doing that. I'm not going to sit here and say that guns need to be outlawed. No, that's stupid. We're not that kind of country. We're just not. We have a right to bear arms here. But, this is a pretty big but. We need to look at who's bearing those arms. We shouldn't just let anyone bear arms. And I think the reason that people are so against any law that might limit guns even more is because they're paranoid that, oh God, maybe they'll find something wrong with me, and then I won't have a right to bear that arm. They'll sit there and they'll look at me psychologically and they'll go, you're not fit, you can't have this. And there's a lot of that paranoia within a lot of groups, within a lot of people, with a lot of people. And I think there's a paranoia there that if we did push for tighter gun laws to restrict certain people with certain mental illnesses and whatnot, and I would be the first to give up my guns with my mental illnesses. I would be the first. If you think I'm not safe with those weapons, go ahead and take them out of here. That way I don't hurt anybody. If you think, but for years, I've had these guns and I've never hurt anybody. But I believe upbringing might be the key. But it could also be societal. Societal, what I mean is society. Well, we can use me as an example. There are people around here who are selfish, self-centered, and they don't care about anybody else. And I've talked about them before. They will blast subwoofers, keep me awake, disturb me and everything, and it drives me insane. I can't sleep. My sleep schedule is all fucked up. I've been sleeping at night, or I've been sleeping in the day again. I'm not sleeping at night. But imagine how bad somebody else might be going through. Or imagine how messed up something might be in their head. We're not looking at the problems. We're not looking at the real problems. We're looking for a scapegoat. And guns are supposedly that scapegoat. Oh, no, not guns, sorry, games. Games. Games are that scapegoat. Sorry. Games are the scapegoat. Video games are the scapegoat. When will it stop being a scapegoat? I don't know. I hate saying it, but it's probably going to have to go to court. We will have to go to a court and have a judge say, this game didn't have anything to do with it. Video games don't have anything to do with it. Video games don't make people violent. There's evidence to prove to the contrary. They do the opposite. They're a good outlet for people with violent tendencies. They're a very good outlet. All right? Maybe that's why I haven't hurt anybody around here. I play all kinds of shit. You know, and that includes things where I might shoot something up. I put Doom on every now and then and blow away a demon. It's a game and it keeps me. I think that's why I haven't hurt anybody. We need to stop blaming what's not responsible and look at what's actually responsible. This is ridiculous. Look, I'm no big fan of Activision Blizzard. No. I don't think they're a shining company. I don't think they're a great company. But I really, 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 really extremely doubt that video games are responsible. I think a lot of other things are responsible, and we're not willing to look at those things. And maybe one day we will. Maybe one day we will. Rate, comment, subscribe. This has been the Goose. Goose. Yes, I'm Goose now. I blew it. This has been the Goof. I'll see you in another one. Jesus Christ. Pull your heads out of your asses, people.